things like this, and it just really picked up, and we're learning so much from folks. So if you've got something to share, let us know. We're always willing to kind of get to know you better and bring you on board. But I'm Joyce Whitby, and I'm up in New York, and Michelle's going to say hello and introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Michelle Magrum. I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager here at Education Associates. We're super excited to have you all here today, as Joyce said, and we're super excited to have Erin here. She is from Towns County High School in Georgia, and I will let her introduce herself as well. But I just wanted to let you all know that during the presentation, I will be the person in the chat answering all your questions. So you guys, any questions, comments, anything at all, feel free to stick it in the chat, and we can either wait till the end and have Erin and Joyce answer it at the end, or I can answer it right there for you in the chat. So
yep, and we're here to help. And we will tell you too that there's a short survey at the end of this that I think the Zoom automatically kind of pours you on into, but please use that as an opportunity. We've had people who told us on the survey that they'd like to see such and such. There was one who asked about funding. We did a session on funding. We did another one on grants. So if there's something we can help you with, we'll do the research and we'll figure it out as we start going. And then let's start off with finding out who you all are. So please look at the poll that just popped up on your screen and let us know what your role is. Classroom teacher, are you gen ed, are you special ed, transition in any way, shape, or form, CTE, career prep, or an administrator, or if it's something else, add it on into the chat so we can learn a little bit. So, a special ed interventionist, thanks, Hope, very good. Ed consultant, great, me too. I'll give you a couple of more moments to get it all on in. All right, SEA, grad assistant, very, very good. All right, we've got 3/4 of the folks answering here, and I'm gonna go ahead and share our results. So Erin and Michelle, we've got about 43% of the people are transition in some way, shape, or form, right? It's transition specialist, teacher, para, all these things. And then other couple of in here, we've got a couple of students and folks from the SEA. So we're good. We're all across the board here. Love it. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you and your time here today. And we also appreciate that Education Associates actually understands special ed. One size does not fit all. That is really our mantra, and we live this every day. In fact, we've been here for over 40 years now. It's really 41, and I have refused to change the slide, but I will eventually, Michelle, I promise. Yeah. I don't want to say 41. It's like, gotta wait till you get to that. And we're there. But I think that the reason that we have been here this long, and it's not just the company name has been here this long, like, McDonald's or something. We have been here this long with the same CEO and CAO, the same team. And the product didn't, curriculum did not look the same 40 years ago as it does now because of your input and people like you, and who told us hands-on, number one, front and center, evidence-based practices, UDL, alignment to academics as well as CTE. So people told us that over these years, and we did that, and that's why we're here, because we are better because of all of you all and all the people that we work with. You don't have to take our word for it. We've been approved and accredited by a number of institutions, including the U.S. Department of Ed and National Dropout Prevention Center and others. The one that we're so proud about happened last year, right in the middle of COVID shutdowns. We were able to finish an 8-month dialogue with CASE to get our endorsement. And that's a really big endorsement from them. They really, they take the time to thoroughly evaluate all of the research. I call it almost like a little mini dissertation. You may have heard me say that before if you've heard me do this, because you really have to take your research, your foundational research, and apply it to all of their rubrics. Then you've got to take all of your outcomes-based research out in the field, which we did at multiple states, multiple schools, with the help of a professor from University of Kentucky, and apply it to their rubrics. And then once you submit that, they ask you, a dozen or more questions, and you have to stand and defend it, just like it was a dissertation. It was like, definitely felt that way, but it's a wonderful process. I told them I felt it was very cathartic for everybody at the company to be able to really look at what we've got in a different light. So we're very proud of that, needless to say. And this is what they were looking at and evaluating. I am not going to go on into a product pitch here for you all, but I'm just going to tell you briefly. There's two parts to what we've got. Project discovery, which is our hands-on career awareness, exploration, and job skills training in over 100 different careers. And then there's our Achieve Life Skills, which is just that, getting students life ready. So there's lots of different titles, lots of different ways that you can mix and match and pick and choose whatever really fits you and your environment. We always say, take a look at the pathways that are just natural within your immediate area, and that's a great way to start. So that's what we're all about. And we will share with you later on how you can find out more information about the products, the curriculum, and how you can get even a personal tour. Okay. But today we're here to learn a little bit more from Erin Schuette, who has been in education for over 27 years. Am I extending that too much, Erin?
This is my 27th year.
27th year. Awesome. At Towns County High School. And I mean, I just really have loved getting to know you, Erin, and better understand your neck of the woods, which is a really remote and special, beautiful area, Lake Hiawassee in Georgia. And I Googled it and looked around, and I may talk my husband into going on vacation there one day. Beautiful. So Erin, I'm going to turn that remote control over to you. So it should say on your screen, you have control. Okay. And Michelle and I are going to go off screen and mute. We'll be answering the chats for you all. And if you need anything, we're right here. And we're going to let Erin kind of tell you a little bit more about her world. And Erin, the CTAE, that was a new thing because everybody's got so many acronyms. So you may want to also just kind of explain in Georgia the significance of CTAE.
Okay. I'll do that. But yes, thank you guys for having me. And as she has said, I've been a special education teacher for 27 years now and have been teaching here in Hiawassee, Georgia at Towns County High School for the past 17 years. Transition is one of my favorite things. It's my passion. So I do have my transition specialist endorsement. And I work with a range of students with mild to moderate disabilities and several of those with autism. Get my screen to go forward, and I'm not being able to do that for some reason.
I'll try and help you. Let's see.
Sorry.
Go right ahead. Let's see if that'll.
You may have to help me. Sorry about that.
That's a worry.
Okay. So yeah, what got me started with Education Associates is about 5 or 6 years ago, I had a student with moderate disabilities that was in a CTAE classroom. CTAE is our Career Technical Agricultural Education. We have 3 major pathways here at our high school, which is business, agriculture, and health occupations. We also have art and your liberal arts pathways as well. But of course, my students focus more on the vocational skills. But I had a student who was in the health occupations pathway who needed some more supports. And so I was trying to find something more on her level and did my research and found these vocational kits through Education Associates. I was able to purchase the caregiver kit and use that in conjunction with her lessons that she was doing in the regular ed. So it was able to support her in the regular education setting. I liked the kit so much that I started researching even more, thinking about vocations that are here in our community that would be appropriate for our students. And started looking at kits that kind of went hand in hand to where we live here in Hiawassee. And so I was able to start purchasing more and more kits to use. I can use those for the community-based vocational instruction time. Of course, during COVID season, when it was really bad and I was not allowed to go out in the community, I could use these vocational kits on a weekly basis, and my students still had access to learning important vocational skills. Each of these kits comes with pre and post tests. There are several lessons within each kit, and at the end of each lesson, they have a hands-on part of the kit. So basically they have a PowerPoint that they go through that's included in the kit. We go through the PowerPoint. Then after the PowerPoint, then it's okay, it's time to act. Show me what you just learned. So you then have a checklist that it is again in the notebook that you can assess each student to make sure that they are learning the skills that are being taught in each kit. And I must include, every kit comes with every type of supply that you would need. For example, the caregiver kit that I first purchased had from stethoscopes to thermometers to gloves to blood pressure cuffs to anything that was related to that caregiver kit. So every kit is built that way. So there are assessments that can be used in their, IEPs and their transition plans for IEP goals. You've got your pre and post tests. You've got those ongoing assessments you're doing at the end of each lesson. And you can present this in their transition plans and in their IEPs at their IEP meetings. You've got all your documentation that can be nicely kept in a transition portfolio. So I like the use of the assessments that are built into each of these kits as well. I'm going to see, I don't know if I can progress on, there it goes. So as I've just said, it supports their IEP. It fits into daily instruction. Not only do these kits go over vocational skills, a lot of them also incorporate math. There's reading in it. There's social studies. So you can, find ways to incorporate not only vocational and life skills, but also those functional academic skills. So it fits right into your daily instruction. And if you had a student who was still on virtual learning, these kits are very easy to use with those students that are virtual as well. I think we can progress on to the next slide. So yes, this again goes hand in hand with community-based instruction. If you're not able to go out in the community or to even support what you're doing in the community. For example, another kit that I have is the grocery store kit. We have just completed that about a month ago. But, now that I'm able to go back into the community, I can take what we've learned and go to our local grocery store and, generalize into the regular setting. I even had a student who was out for the weekend who sent me a picture of the end cap of the cash registers where all of the bags are. We had a whole lesson on bagging, and he remembered that and took a picture of it and sent it to me. So, it's positive for the students. They're learning vocational skills. Again, I try to use the kits that go hand in hand with job sites in our community so that if these students graduate and stay close to home, they've gone through a kit and training and had hands-on experience that they can share on their resume. Again, the students like them because they're hands-on and they're interactive. And another important thing about a lot of these kits is the fact that some of them have adapted materials. Those materials can be used with your lower students, such as those that are more moderate to even severe. These adapted kits have more pictures instead of words, so that they're easier for your lower students to follow. So I even have some of those kits that have the adapted materials in them. So it's positive for the students. Even your low students can be successful using a variety of these kits. We could progress to the next screen. So yes, of course, we know we want to do what's right first and foremost for our students, but secondary, we do have those state standards that we have to meet. These kits are aligned to many state standards, especially all of the CTAE programs. They can be used in conjunction and support your students while they're out in the regular ed. If there's something in the regular ed curriculum that is too difficult, I'm lucky that I have, co-teachers here that will support me and allow me to incorporate these modified kits and still meet the standards. The funding, I did attend a town hall meeting about a month ago with Education Associates that was strictly about the funding to purchase things such as this. And I'm sure you all, I hope you're all aware that there was a lot of COVID funding that came out over the last year or so. And actually last year, a couple of the kits that I purchased was through some of that additional funding that is out there now. Also, we have IDEA. I have been very lucky to have a supportive administrator who has allowed me to purchase at least 2 of these kits every year. I'm up to 6 kits now, I think. And I just really believe in them and think that they are very appropriate for students, especially at the high school level. Again, they gain a lot of hands-on experience, which is what they need, and it's using real items. We are now currently in the cleaning and maintenance kit, and I was very surprised when I ordered that and it came in. The boxes and boxes kept coming of all of the supplies, from buckets to brooms to mops to every cleaning supply to gloves, anything you could think of to go with cleaning and maintenance. I have it, and we are working through that kit now. So yeah, you have to check with your administrators, ask about the funding. It's okay to ask. Find out if there's funding available for you to purchase things like this, especially if you're in a district that still is not allowed to go out into the community. This is a perfect way to supplement your community-based vocational instruction time by utilizing these kits. You can progress to the next slide.
Let's see some questions.
And that's kind of about all I have. If there's anybody that has any specific questions, just let me know.
So there were some questions about the kits and things like that, which Michelle started answering within there. But I also saw one that, so I'm just going to go back a moment and ask about the job sites in the community. And you found some places like your local resorts. How do you find those local resorts or just business people in the community? What have you done that works?
I just, to me, it works better if you go in person to speak to someone. It's just more personable. So I have, gone to places in person and all they can tell you is no. Mm-hmm. But I go and ask and explain my program and that my students are trying to learn important vocational social skills. I do have like an agreement that I sign and the company signs stating that, this is part of their school day. I am the one responsible for them. The company is not responsible for them. I am. And that puts a lot of these companies at ease because they don't want the liability if something were to happen. Sure. But these agreements, kind of put up that safety net for them. So I've been very lucky that places have been receptive. We go to the local food pantry. We work in the laundry room at the local resort. We've worked at assisted living homes in the past, but of course with COVID now and the elderly, that's just not a very good place for us to be at the moment. We've gone to the local resort horse stables and interacted with the horses, and the barn was our responsibility. So we go a variety of places. So another kit that I have is the animal care kit. We've been through the animal care kit, and then that kind of ties into working at the horse stables. So that's kind of what I try to do, is find these kits that they can enhance their skills and go out into their local community and find places where they can use those skills that they've learned.
Right. Because that's a big piece, is that parents see that you're training them for some job that's really not immediately accessible. Where that's nice, and I'm sure they'll learn things from it. But if it is something that could, you never know, be down the road. I always tell the story of my daughter's friend, Ted, who works in our local grocery store. And you can't separate Ted from the autism, but boy, he's a spunky guy, and he's out there. Hi, Ted, how are you? Hi, Joyce, I'm fine. How are you today? I'm just fine. And he's been there for 15 years.
Yep.
And managers have come and gone.
Yep.
But Ted is the steady Eddie. He's always been there and can do anything. And so he got a big celebration. I think it was last year, and we went out in the parking lot to just do a little celebration outdoors to say congratulations on your 15th anniversary, and the whole community was there, and everybody was, so it was really, between his mom and his teachers, they did great in helping him, and he's a very happy adult man, and he plays his guitar and keyboard out in front of Starbucks on the weekends. Because that's his joy, is his music, but he earns his money working at the local Stop and Shop. And that's, but it's a viable career pathway in the community. And he's, contributing, he's independent.
Yes.
So all the things that we want for students. So I digressed a moment there, but I also wanted to ask you again, the CTAE, which we spoke about when we first met too, with the agriculture in Georgia, that's also the general ed initiative, and then y'all have brought it on in for your special needs students. Is that correct?
Yes, they are general ed courses. They're kind of our electives. At our school, the students have to be a pathway completer in either business or health or agriculture. So my students go out for these electives, usually with a paraprofessional support. But sometimes, the content is too difficult for them. So then, if there's an appropriate kit that I have, then I can incorporate and supplement things that are, adapted more on their level. And they can still be in that regular class, get credit for it, and work towards being a pathway completer.
That's huge. That really is huge, because it's, being able to make those accommodations for those pathways. And I think that that's one of the benefits within this curriculum, because the curriculum is not just, start here, end here. It's here are all the different ways. I said, no, not one size fits all. We really, really mean it, but here are all the ways that you could go about that depending on the student's particular needs.
Yes.
Michelle, did you have others that you saw that you wanted to?
I do. I have lots of others. So, the most recent one is we have, in looking at the kits, it appeared that in order to make it realistic, you would want to set it up so it could be used for a period of time. Do you need a specific location or area dedicated to the kit?
I have been able to use them within my classroom thus far. Now, like for the animal care kit, of course, I didn't have real animals, but I used stuff, dogs and cats throughout the whole kit. The cleaning kit so far, we've been able to, last week, the lesson was about using cleaning products to clean your desktops. This week, it's about cleaning the whiteboard. So all of that I've been able to do right inside of my classroom so far.
Now, and they're pretty well organized too. I mean, they really have everything inventoried. Like, so you have a full inventory list. That becomes a job for one of the kids.
Yes.
Everything that got taken out of the kit gets put back in the kit.
Yeah. Each kit comes in like a big Rubbermaid. Everything you need is inside of there, other than, for example, the cleaning kit, of course, have bigger boxes with all the mops and mop dustpans and mop buckets and all of that, but usually everything is all condensed inside of that Rubbermaid. The notebooks are in there. They're very organized with all the PowerPoints. Then there's a section that has all the step-by-step instructions for each unit, each lesson that you do. So everything's very compact and organized, and they're easy to stack somewhere in your room on shelves. And so far I've, been able to utilize everything right within my classroom.
Awesome. Okay, well, another one question I had is there a higher level than adapted and beginning?
Now I can speak for me. I think there are some that are more advanced. I
Yeah.
think your product list will section those out a little bit more.
And
Mhm.
actually, and we do have, yeah, I wasn't sure, Erin, if you specifically had any kits that were, but I will say we actually have several different levels of kits here
Mhm.
for all functioning levels, all the way from gen ed students to your students with the most significant challenges,
Yes.
who might be nonverbal or would
Mhm.
qualify for that adapted series. But we also have our job skills training series, which is, just comprehensive full semester of, really in-depth career training that's kind of correlated with Department of Labor entry-level job skills there. So the students actually learn like the real job skills needed to complete a specific job. So we have
Right.
our job
Those are all these over here, these job skills. They're
Yes.
all about a 90-hour course. So we always kind of say like, here's basic series and then enhanced series, first semester, second semester. So if
Right.
you were doing auto detailing first semester, auto detailing second semester, and these are really gen ed students, community colleges, adjudicated youth on the state of North Carolina. So we've got a number of different programs that use that for real job skills training. The other materials on the left side of this list, this one page, the career awareness is actually written for elementary and elementary age students awareness. So it's 11 titles that have 55 different careers, and they really just kind of go, let's explore banking, let's explore medical careers and things like that. Very broad general topics, but they're aimed at the maturity level of young children, whereas career exploration has beginning, intermediate, and advanced. At beginning level reading and even a backup. So you have like two different reading levels in each one of these, third through fifth grade, fifth or sixth grade, seventh or eighth grade, that kind of a thing. So it just kind of grows on up. They all have a backup of the same content done in a second through fourth grade level. So that series in and of itself can be differentiated in a lot of ways. Then we went one better and we took 17 of those titles and made them adapted. And that's where we've got the extra evidence-based practices, the video modeling and the visual schedule and things like that we've added on in. So that's where we'll say, if you want to go through a private tour, we can go through at another point in time. We'll show you in a little bit how you can kind of come through with that. But I'm going to go back to questions.
And then there was another question to follow up that I did want to mention just about, can the adaptive version be used alongside the other levels? And I did want to mention that the good news about the adapted program is that whenever you purchase it, it's kind of like a 2-for-1. You get both the adapted version of the curriculum and the general curriculum.
Yeah.
So you can be serving the needs of all your students, because the general curriculum also has 2 reading levels as well, so that it's differentiated there. Then you have your adapted program, and so you meet the needs of every single learner that you have, regardless of their functioning level. So yes, they absolutely can be used alongside.
And one last point on that I always appreciated was that nothing that is student facing says anything about the level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Students don't know if they're in
No.
adapted or regular. Are they reading at a second grade level or a fifth grade level? Is their friend reading at a second or fifth? They just know my sheet is a little different than yours. I have to do these tasks. You have to do those. but nothing, so you can have a 22-year-old learner working on a second grade level activity who's going to feel that it's at their level, that it's an appropriate level for them. Just because it's written at a second grade reading level, we don't talk down to any human being.
That's right.
They're all humans.
Erin, another really good question. How many students does one kit serve?
You can serve as many as you want, because the PowerPoints and the worksheets and activities and all that are reproducible. I have a class of 5. Next year I'm growing. I'm going to have probably 7 or 8. So I'll still be able to utilize these kits. So it's really as you said, some of those upper level kits for the higher kids, you may have a CTAE classroom of 20 kids that could use it. Again, everything's reproducible, or can be utilized with a full classroom. Or, like I said, when I bought the very first kit, the caregiver kit, I was working one-on-one with a student when that one.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's, that really does span the whole range there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a yearly subscription. Once you've bought
No.
the kit, you own the kit and you can use it as the situation changes and modifies. Sure.
Yeah. And some of your newer kits, I noticed the ones that I got this year also come with a little flash drive.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes. So you can have access to
Yeah.
those
So
materials.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
So we also got a question about like your student outcomes that you've seen, like with the kits. What kind of results are your students getting, like who complete the kits? What sort of skills are they acquiring, and results are they getting after completing like a project discovery course?
Well, they're definitely improving, showing more and more vocational skills. I've actually had a couple of students who have been employed within the community. This past year, I have a student who is employed actually here at school in our cafeteria. She actually went through another one of the kits that I have that is the food service kit. I've had students go on to work in the medical field as those are some of my higher students, but like as a CNA or something of that nature. So I have had students who have gained employment.
Mm-hmm.
And just overall gaining, important knowledge. Even the grocery kit, that was an eye opener for them, just learning about the different types of grocery bags that are used and how they're supposed to be packaged, your heavy stuff on the bottom, lighter stuff on the top. Just, the kids have learned just some basic skills, even about one thing in the grocery store kit is making sure that things on the shelves were upright and facing forward. So just kind of, they've learned to sort, and again, looking at details of, they can apply that to a lot of things in life, making sure things are going the right way, turn the right direction, that sort of a thing.
Yeah. I like the fact also you had them working at the school. We had somebody else we had spoken with, and they did, they had our greenhouse kit, and they had the students going back to the elementary and the middle school to help with the gardens and so forth around those schools, which was kind of a nice way within the same district to be able to find employment for them, or opportunities to, especially, and that was during COVID. So that they felt that they were in a safe environment, that they were being regulated, and yet they were doing something that was a real job skill.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. Any more, Michelle, before we go on?
The last one that I got was about like the data collection. I think at one point you sort of talked a little bit about that. Could you explain a little bit more about how that works?
Yeah, well, again, there's a pre and a post test. So of course you can keep the scores from that. Then the kit also incorporates, it's almost like a grading rubric for each lesson. So once again, once you go through the PowerPoint lesson, and they do the actual hands-on activity, there is a little rubric for each lesson where you can mark, yes or no, and keep notes of things that they accomplished. And, you can, of course, use those data sheets, the rubrics to, progress monitor the students.
Mhm.
Awesome.
So,
And then the last question, well, I've gotten a couple about funding, how to procure funding for this. I know that you spoke a little bit about that, Erin, so I'm not sure if you have any follow-up on that. And then also Joyce can show some resources about that as well.
I will
Yeah,
indeed.
I just know, I've been lucky to be able to ask my special education director, and I've always been told yes. Again, usually it's toward the end of the school year that we do our purchase orders for the next school year. But last school year, because of this COVID funding that came out, these grants, and again, I don't have a ton of knowledge on that, but during the middle of the school year, we were told that this extra money had come in and that we could make some mid-year purchases. And it was through a particular grant, that came from the COVID funding.
Absolutely. And I'll touch upon that in a little bit. Are you good, Michelle? Do you have any other? If folks come up with more questions, we're not going away yet. We'll keep Erin here as well. But I'll show you a couple more things of where you can find some more information. So first of all, we call this our Webinar Wednesday, and it's the first Wednesday of every month, 2:00 Eastern. And so on our website, just educationassociates.com, and I'll actually show my toolbar. Okay. So on that site, if you go to resources, under resources down here is Webinar Wednesday. The reason I bring it on up live is because here are those other sessions that we did. And let me remember when in May, we had Dr. Paula Love, who is affectionately known as the funding doctor. And this is a great session to go back and watch because she goes into detail about all of the different tiers of COVID funding, from CARES to ESSER 1, 2, and 3. And there's a whole bunch of different ones in there. And I'll show you some more where you can get some information. But then she also goes on into both the IDEA funding and Perkins grants and things like that. So it's a 45-minute little dose of, hey, what can go with that? And then the other thing that I thought that was kind of interesting that sort of ties in, I guess it's September, with Dr. Amy Spriggs from University of Kentucky, where she was talking about our evidence-based practices, because in that ESSER funding, in that Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, that's ESSER, I to go through the acronym in my head, but in that funding, they're asking for evidence-based practices. So Dr. Spriggs was the one who did a lot of the research, which we used for that case endorsement I spoke about before. And she explained what evidence-based practices, what that really means and what it refers to, evidence-informed or evidence-based. And she gives all that. So I think between those two sessions, you have enough kind of ammunition to kind of go back and say, well, this is the funding that's available, and here are the things I need to say in order to qualify for it. And you'd be able to go on out. But there's a whole bunch. So it definitely, if you don't want to watch all the ones from last year, in January, we did the best of. So all of the things that we learned in 2020, I just kind of did a recap on everything. So that's my recommendation on the Webinar Wednesdays part of things. And then, so I did it twice, sorry. Here, that's where I meant to click. And then, we also have on the bottom of each and every page, there is this little red box. And if you sign up for that newsletter, it's not a sales pitchy kind of a newsletter, but like in this example, we reviewed what went on in that Webinar Wednesday. It's kind of like your, Reader's Digest version of the webinar. So in next month's little newsletter, we'll write up some of the tips and things that Erin had just shared with us. But it's a great thing for anybody on your entire special ed department should be, really, I think, on that newsletter. It's a 1-minute read and you get so much from it. Really, really simple. There's more information out there on how to, kind of get the whole, I saw somebody put the site in there about what's in a kit. If you find this button, this preview packet on our site, you can download that kit. The only one who's going to know you did that is going to be Michelle. I think it's going to come to her. But that'll also show you what's in a kit and go into real good detail on that. And then this is kind of interesting too, because this is on that same spot. I'm going to go back to the website live. Oh, great. It's right up at the top. I think that's on almost all the pages too, right? I'm going to another place to just check myself and see if I'm telling you the truth or am I fibbing today. But the funding resources is available. Yep, it is. That's what so it's the blue button up at the corner of any page. And in that, it will kind of give you the short and sweet so that you can kind of get a sense on those funding sources. So there's a lot. And then there's, I guess when you do the read more, I think this is right. Yep. This is a great download. So here you go. This is now grown to 8 pages. So we kind of took some of the information that Dr. Paula Love had given us and we've updated it. So this is very, very current. And we'll give you some resources and things you can go for. So hopefully that'll, we try and make sure that this is as easy as, when we learn from one person, we pass it on to the next. So some things may fit better in different parts of the country, right? But I think that there's a lot. One thing about that Perkins funding that I learned is that it was revised, I don't know if it's last year or the year before, but now it goes down as low as 5th grade. So you can use that funding, which was traditionally all high school, but so that'll take care of your middle school, even your upper elementary, to provide career awareness and things like that for students. It's kind of cool. And certainly a lot of information about the CARES money as well. And I clicked one more time there, click below. And then, this is probably the easiest thing, because if you have specific questions, if you just go again to our resources page, let's find it, and you come on down, where is it? It should be on here. We're on resource. Oh my goodness, it's right at the top. I'm blind. Request a personal overview Zoom. What we've had that I thought was just really great is that we've used the technology now, so you can literally come on to this page and find a date. So I've had people come on in and say, we do our staff meetings on the last Thursday of every month or last Wednesday. And you can come on in and pick a time and say, oh, those are really about 4 a.m. Who's doing them at 4 a.m., Michelle? But you can say our meeting is every, last Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m. And you can go and book a Zoom right there. And then it's great when you have the whole team, because then all the different players on the team, if you have an SLP or a BCBA or transition core, everybody could kind of look at it and be on the same page. And they'd say, well, this will be good for these kids and so forth. And because everybody's different, one size does not fit all. And we've come up with something that's got enough in there that there's something for everybody, and everybody on the team can really work with it. So I love the personal Zooms, but I would definitely say do it as a team, and everybody, come in prepared to learn a little bit more about it. Because it's one of the best things. We've had a lot of people come back and they say, okay, that helps us decide this year we're going to start with this, and we're going to grow into, we're going to be talking with our community members, our, local community business leaders and so forth, and creating pathways right there. So,
and to clarify, I don't want to burst any bubbles here, but we do not do Zooms at 4 a.m. unfortunately. That day must not have been blocked out correctly.
We're going to lock that up.
And fix that, because I'm so sorry, but I at 4 a.m. I am in my PJs, so
I hope so. That would definitely be beyond the job title. So I didn't look to see if anybody came up with any other questions or thoughts. If there's anything else that y'all want to know about, please do let us know. But it's really, from all my years in education, just one of the richest set of tools. And then I think the big thing is we get to learn from people like Erin. And each, sometimes you say things, Erin, you might be saying, oh, this is no big deal. I know everybody's got to know this. I'm like, no, every time I've spoken with you, we've learned something new. And I think that it's really quite interesting because look at that. In Georgia, you could be a CTAE student, get some accommodations, and have a pathway. So you get you're the pathway completer and move forward towards a regular diploma or regular exit. That's gold to so many people. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It really is. And thank you to everybody who's here with us today. Michelle, anything else new coming on up? I understand that Education Associates is going to be next week in Little Rock, Arkansas.
That's right. Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. We will be at the National Case Conference. So if any of you guys will be there, please stop by our booth. We would love to meet you guys. But yes, we are very, very proud and excited to be there next week.
Super. Yeah, that's always a great event. And I'm hoping that we keep growing and getting back into more and more as we go along. I know that there's plenty of local events as well. Georgia Case. I know that we've always been a big supporter of that, Erin. So we could talk. We could do a presentation at Georgia Case.
Okay.
That would be fun. Is it in Savannah? Usually, I think.
So we actually will be at Georgia Case. We will be there as well. So super excited about that. But yeah, if you guys have any follow-up questions, please feel free. My email and phone number is on the screen there, Michelle Magram. And so you are more than welcome to email me if you have any follow-up questions, if you want to set up an overview Zoom or anything like that. If you want me to connect you with somebody to talk to a little bit more about what we offer, or a lot of times people want a link to the recording. I will say we do send out the recording link to everybody, whether you were able to attend or if you just signed up and couldn't attend, we send out a link to everybody for the recording. But if for whatever reason that ends up in your junk folder or whatever, you're welcome to reach out to me about that. A lot of times people want certificates of attendance, all those sorts of things. So I'm here for you if you need me.
Cool. Very good. And Erin, thank you once again. I appreciate it. I will let you know when I convince my husband to go on a vacation down Lake Hiawassee.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll come on down and see you because it does look quite beautiful. And I'm sure this time of year you must be really beautiful now. All the tourists are gone, right?
Right. The leaves are changing, so they've been pretty. So
yeah, it looks really lovely. So, all right. Well, we're going to return a couple of minutes back to your day, but thank you all for joining us. And let us know how we can help.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it was our pleasure.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, bye.